Hey everyone, it's Emily from Life So Savory, and today we're going to show you how to do sublimation on dark fabric. So this takes an extra step from your normal sublimation, but I'm going to show you how to do it. So first of all, you want to print your sublimation print, and I'm using the Brothers Sublimation printer. It prints out gorgeous colors, and it uses the Artspira app, which makes designing and printing super easy. So here is my print that I have printed out, and we're going to set this aside for a moment while we go to the next step. So now you're going to take a low tack or paper mat for whatever cutting machine you're using. I'm using the Brothers Scan and Cut, and you're going to cut out your design. If you don't have a cutting machine, you can absolutely do this. Just cut out your design with scissors. But if you have a cutting machine, of course, it makes it easier. I'm going to scan this design with my machine and then save the scan. So not only will I be able to cut out this paper design, but I will be able to cut it out again of the vinyl that I'm going to use for this sublimation process. So sublimating on dark fabric takes an extra step, which is that you not only print your sublimation print, but you also use a special sublimation vinyl, which is how you get the color to show up on the dark fabric. So with the Scan and Cut, you can scan your design in, and then you can cut it out, which is what I'm doing here. So you can also edit right on the screen if there's any parts of the design that you want to change, or if it scans something in that you don't want to cut. And then I'm going to save my design to my machine, and then I can retrieve it. So I've saved it just right into the internal data. You can also save it to a USB to export or use for something else. So I'm going to select the design that I have scanned in, and then we're going to cut out the paper so that I don't have any extra sublimation paper and I just have the print. Here I'm turning the half cut off. We want it to fully cut through the paper, so make sure your settings are correct for cutting paper and that you're all set to go, and then it should quickly be able to cut your design out. And once I hit start, it will go ahead and cut around the design on the paper so that we only have the letters and the design ready to go. So I have made many designs with sublimation, but this was the first time that I was making a project with dark fabric and experimenting with using the sublimation vinyl. And all of the supplies and things that I'm using will be linked in the description of this video and also in the blog post, so you can get all of the same supplies that I'm using as well. You don't have to use the electronic cutting machine or this like the Scan and Cut. You can cut this out with your scissors, but I of course wanted to make it easy, and if you have a cutting machine, this makes the cuts clean and makes it very simple to be able to transfer this without any extra paper. So then you're going to remove each piece separately. Mine was not a design that stayed together because you can see these letters are all separate. So remove the pieces from the cutting mat and set them to the side. We're going to cut now the exact same design out with the sublimation vinyl. Switch to a stickier mat or a vinyl mat and press your sublimation vinyl with the glossy side down, and that's the side that is then covered with that protective sheet of plastic. So there's the glossy side, and then the matte side is facing up, and we're going to insert this into the cutting machine, and then I'm going to cut again the exact same design one more time. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn the half cut back on so that we only cut through the first layer of the vinyl and not that clear adhesive side on the front, because that makes it easier for transferring and protecting the vinyl when we're ironing. So turning the half cut back on, and then we're ready to start cutting, and you can see the design on the screen. It's just cutting the exact same thing that we cut out of paper. You're going to cut out of vinyl. So the Brothers Sublimation printer automatically mirrors the design. So my sublimation print was mirrored, and so then my scan was mirrored, which means now this vinyl cut will also be mirrored, and I didn't have to do any of that manually. But if you're using a sublimation printer that doesn't mirror your design, make sure you, of course, mirror the design before you cut it out, and then use that same cut with the vinyl. So now you're going to weed the vinyl just like any other vinyl project, leaving the clear top film on the bottom and then weeding out any extra of the vinyl along between the letters or the design that you have cut out. And then you're ready to put this on to your shirt. And so instead of just putting the sublimation print, we're now going to have 2 steps, which is putting on the vinyl, and then you're actually sublimating onto the vinyl, which is white, rather than sublimating onto the dark fabric. All right, so this also would fix the problem of if you have a 100% cotton shirt, and normally you can't use sublimation on 100% cotton. So if that was what you were using, you could do this same method to sublimate on 100% cotton. The sublimation vinyl comes in clear, so if you want to do it on a light color fabric or say cotton, you could just use the clear vinyl, or white, which is what I'm using for this dark shirt, so that my sublimation print shows up when I have adhered it to the vinyl. So you're going to go ahead, once you have pressed the vinyl to your shirt, peel it back, smooth it out, and then you're going to carefully place the sublimation print face down on top of the white vinyl, and it will actually print onto the vinyl. I'm going to use some heat protective tape. So this is the same kind of tape that I would use for other sublimation. It is able to withstand heat, and it doesn't discolor or affect my print. So make sure that you're just putting that in a few places so it doesn't slip or slide. And then if you have a design that of course is all one piece, it will be easier. But I put all the pieces together, put some tape on it, and then of course you're going to press and heat your sublimation print for whatever is recommended with your heat press. And then you can just do a quick check. So before I peel off or take any of the tape away, I like to make sure that the color has fully transferred. If not, you can go ahead and put your heat press back on and apply a little bit more heat to the letters or the paper to fully transfer that. But if it looks good, then you can go ahead and remove the paper backing and now reveal your print, which has printed the color on top of the letters, which were the vinyl. So again, this is kind of makes it a 2-step process, but if you're familiar with sublimation and with vinyl, it sort of combines those 2 things. And then here you go, we're revealing the last part, and I love the way that this print turned out. It has some nice texture in the eagle bird at the top, and just gives a nice look, and I'm excited to wear this to my son's track meets and other summer events for his high school. So there's how you sublimate on dark fabric, and I hope you'll be able to replicate this and enjoy.